Hello, Breeze and Gentlegrams. In today's episode of the Brooklyn Bed-Stuy bullying Badman, Joey the junior jouster juggling duels dissing Daylyt and the detonating destructor of the Drake fight, I'm talking about King Kung Fu Kenny the Best. Remember when Joey went on a quest, competition had him possessed? On the first day of the year, he pointed out his chest and flex, suggests that he's the king of the East, while there's an excess dick and jest on the West. California crowded the pro-era terrorizer Ray Vaughn, Daylyt, and more looked at Joey like an appetizer, and now Joey's back with a vengeance to respond. So let's break it all down like heat to a frozen pond. And if you're fond beyond and correspond, wave your wand on the like and subscribe button for the content that I've spawned. Alright, lobbies and gentlegrams, so let's go through a little recap of what the hell's going on here. On the first day of 2025, January 1st, we get a new track from Joey Badman called The Ruler's Back. Obviously, the title being in reference to both Jay-Z and Slick Rick the Ruler, both of them having tracks titled The Ruler's Back, with Jay-Z's The Ruler's Back being on his Blueprint album, actually the intro to the album, and the track that follows it up is Takeover, his diss against Nas. So you could tell what type of timing Joey's on just by the title of that song alone. I have a full breakdown of the record, but essentially some highlighted bars include: I got murals in my city, F a nomination. This for every time they left me out the conversation. Keep in mind, a couple months prior, Kendrick had a song called Whacked Out Murals. And this song was off the heels of him being nominated for 7 Grammys at the 2025 awards. He also rapped, I'm finna bomb on guys' plans. Fresh off my vacation, I was sitting back, watching from an eagle eye, trying not to react. Just give me one reason. I'm on full attack. East Coast guy till I die. It's clear who the heir apparent king of NY. So here he's declaring himself overlooked, undernominated, and the king of New York, which notably Kendrick called himself the same thing on his 2013 Control verse. But the biggest blow came on the first few bars on the second verse, where Joey rapped, too much West Coast D-licking. I'm hearing guys throwing rocks, really ain't stuff sticking, cause if we're talking bar for bar, really it's slim pickings. I rap like I draw pentagrams and unalive chickens. Also, just like J. Cole rapping about how Kendrick had short arms and couldn't box, Joey rapped, I'm out your reach, your arm's too short to box the Elohim. Now, of course, Kendrick didn't really respond to this, unless you want to count his bar on the Playboi Carti song Good Credit, where he said, I would have said F you too, but you knew that the list was full. And the West Coast D-licking is obviously in reference to the massive moments and support Kendrick has given to the West Coast, to underground artists from his city, featuring them on his album GNX, hosting the whole pop-out concert, using Mustard production on some of his biggest hits in the last few years. Obviously, a lot of West Coast love was going on in 2024, right? So to start the year off, Joey declares he's the king of New York. He's putting his coast on his back. And while emphasizing that he's underrated, he's declaring that the West Coast reign is about to be detonated. And again, while we didn't hear Kendrick respond, we heard his California counterparts and TDE teammates pick up the slack and put the West Coast on their back. You had TDE signee Ray Vaughn delivering a ruthless freestyle where he rapped, what's with the sneak dissing, taking shots at us, then hide the Uzi, cause the only bad man the world recognize is Boosie. Or if you don't like the way we pop it, then stop picking up our slang. At least the homie was direct when he was mentioning y'all names, referencing of course Kendrick's Control verse. And he also referenced the fact that Joey has been very busy filming TV shows instead of getting in the booth. And ironically, when he was in the booth, it was with Kendrick's Black Hippie co-member Ab Soul. And Ray Vaughn rapped, please don't get confused with shooting the movies we really shooting, was on Soul album, so if you ask me, you look like a goofy. Now again, I've broken down all of these diss records, and when I did, I said that in my opinion, the rapper who had the best response was none other than Daylyt, who went at Joey on not one, but 2 different records. The first one, he's keeping it light, essentially just emphasizing that Daylyt himself has been to Joey's hometown on numerous occasions to collect a bag off of battle rap events. He shows a lot of love to the East Coast on his first response, Hi You, and it's essentially just a warning shot to let Joey know that Daylyt can get lethal with the pen, and there's no better emphasis of that than the fact that Daylyt has been to Joey's own hometown countless times to emerge victorious in rap battles on the East Coast. Warning Joey though, saying, to my guys out in Harlem, thanks for all that you done. To them guys over the bridge, we tell them, don't be dumb. And he emphasizes that he's repping his home team, the West Coast. However, he still has love for the East, saying, to the uptown, the downtown, to the midtown, I love y'all. The West is up, but I'll never dub y'all for real. Now you might be saying, all right, that's a little light. from Daylyt, no pun intended. He goes a lot harder on his second response. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Maybe? YHRR. And on this record, Daylyt is back on the East Coast, a lot more disrespectful than on the first record. First emphasizing that he's riding for Ray Vaughn, rapping, "We'll break bones if you try to X-ray. I see through you guys, this is no game." Crazy play on words with the X-ray flip. Also referencing one of Joey's pro-era members, CJ Fly, who released a diss track of his own against the West Coast. Daylyt rapping, "When we think in fly, we think in spirits. Sent your little man out there. Stuff is so lame." Obviously, Spirit Airlines being a lower class airline. And remember those flying and airline bars, because it's going to play an important role when we touch on Joey's response. But the best part of this song is the reference to Diddy, right? Because Joey Badman was actually friends with Diddy, both of them being from the East Coast. The refrain on this Daylyt song is, "It's your birthday, they had a party for you on your birthday. Look at what you started, all because your birthday. My guy, we don't give a F about your birthday." Now, this simple little refrain here actually contains a lot of layers. Number one, Joey Badman's response to all these guys, Sorry Not Sorry, which we'll touch on very shortly, was released on his birthday. Obviously, this is also an interpolation of the hook of 50 Cent's song In the Club. 50 Cent is someone who has obviously been very vocal about how sketched out he is about Diddy. And the whole, party theme here that's going on is in reference to the Diddy famous parties. And he emphasizes this on the third verse, rapping, "Oh, we about to have a party? A party? And you was at the party to quote-unquote party? Scraping and scrambling, oh let me cook, the apron is madness." Now you might be wondering, what the hell is the scrambling and scraping all about? Well, that's in direct reference to this.
I was coming off of being in Miami a night of partying. I don't really remember what I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Would you like a reminder?
Yeah, sure.
Play some.
Hey, yo, listen. I love it all, man. I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping.
That was you.
Scrambling. Hey, man.
And Daylyt continues referencing Diddy in an absolutely insane way, because obviously the notorious B.I.G. Biggie, right? He was signed to Bad Boy Records, Diddy's record label. He tragically lost his life in Daylyt's home of California, and Daylyt raps here, "I would apologize for Big, but that was some stuff that y'all mans did. They let the lie out. Nothing I should be shy about. Wasn't you at the Honeycomb hideout? I'm dead ass." And obviously, Honeycomb is in reference or play on words to Diddy's last name, Combs, while dead ass being a play on words of Joey's rapping name, Badass. And now we get to today, where we got one of the most exciting moments of 2025 so far. An insane link up between Big Sean, Absol, and Joey Badman for a Red Bull freestyle. Now, on a side note, do not drink alcohol with Red Bull. It tastes very good, but it's very bad for you. Stick with espresso martinis instead. Just trying to use this platform to spread a positive message. But let's break down all of the disses, all the bars, all the insane wordplay on this brand new freestyle, specifically Joey's verse, but I do want to highlight some crazy moments between Big Sean and Absol as well. I saw someone on Twitter mention that this is now the second time where a dope Big Sean verse gets overlooked by a bigger hip-hop moment. And that's alright, Big Sean is like the host of some legendary moments in hip-hop, and ironically, on both this freestyle and Control, he has the first verse. It's kind of like the calm before the storm.
Me first. Hey.
Nah, but I do want to highlight some of the dope Sean bars within this song, because obviously they're going to get overlooked. He starts the verse off rapping, "You're going nowhere fast, but from your view you can never tell. No wonder, because you live your whole life based on a carousel." A carousel is obviously an amusement park ride, similar to a merry-go-round. It goes pretty slow, right? So going nowhere fast. But a carousel is also the name of a group of pictures on Instagram. When you get like 10 pictures in a row on one post? That's a carousel. He's saying you live your life based off social media, right? A carousel, you're going nowhere fast. I like how they also have this like dope little exchange going on with one another as they're rapping. Like another one of them steps in, kind of react.
If you wake up hating life, then you hate yourself.
Damn, that's how you feel?
Here's another dope bar.
Living by the gun is you shouldn't have to. And if you can't reach for peace, I hope you have to.
The thing about living by the gun is you shouldn't have to. And if you can't reach for peace, I hope you have to. Good firearm wordplay here, since another word for a gun is peace. Obviously, Sean here is saying you should be living in peace. You shouldn't have to live by the gun. But if you can't reach for peace, like if you can't obtain peace, then I hope you have two, like two pieces. And of course, when you wave two fingers in the air, that's the sign for peace, right? Then he takes some inspiration from Nicki Minaj with, the whole "these bees are my son" type bars.
A lot of y'all my seeds, I see Janae should have had you.
And Janae is obviously the mother of his child. And here's one of my favorite bars of the whole freestyle when Sean raps,
How even want my name on they tombstone?
Yay or nay?
but this is the type of thing where you had to be there to actually get the reference. This is in reference to a 2021 Drink Champs interview that Kanye West did. Obviously, Kanye West being the one who initially signed and put Big Sean on his record label Good Music. In that 2021 Drink Champs interview, Kanye had said signing Sean was the worst decision he ever made on his life. And he picked up a tombstone prop and said, when I die, it should say on my tombstone that I deserve to be here because I signed Big Sean. So Sean is flipping that to say, why do guys want my name on their tombstone? And then Ab-Soul chimes in, yay or nay, right? Obviously, yay being the name Kanye now goes by. Sean references Kanye a couple bars later, rapping,
Been it goes since the goatee and pow chains and teaser hats. I even made the goat's cheese.
another reference that you had to be there for, right? If not, you wouldn't remember the pow chains and the teaser hats and the Obey and Crooks and Castle shirts. Drop a comment if you remember that era. The swag era, I think they call it, like that 2011 tacky, cartoony fashion. But yeah, he's saying he even made the goat's cheese, right? Like he even made some of the goats, aka Kanye West, a lot of bread, right? He ghost wrote for Kanye West. He was the only rapper on Good Music to drop multiple platinum albums, and he claims that he's never even gotten his masters back from Kanye West. Definitely a lot of disrespect on Kanye's end to Sean. Big Sean is very overlooked, and I love when he comes with this type of energy on tracks like this. And Sean caps off his verse declaring he is the B.I.G., but unlike his West Coast and East Coast counterparts on this record, and of course Joey, who has indulged in some East and West competitive rivalry over the last few months, Sean himself is staying out of it.
B.I.G. minus the East and West beef.
Alright, so now we get Ab-Soul coming in, and again, they do a lot of interactions back and forth throughout their verses, especially between Ab-Soul and Joey, where they're each calling each other out on some friendly competitive spirit here. So remember how Joey at the start of the year had a song called The Ruler's Back, where he said there's too much West Coast D-licking, and hailed himself the king of New York. Well, Ab-Soul flips that to say,
The ruler's back, in fact, I never left, in which case, Joey,
and Soul continues talking to Joey saying,
you put me in a sticky predicament. I did.
now remember, right, Joey and Ab-Soul have collaborated in the past. Joey's on Soul's 2022 album Herbert, and Rayvon pointed this out in his diss track against Joey where he rapped was on a Soul album, so if you ask me, you're looking like a goofy, right? Because obviously The Ruler's Back was primarily an aim at Kendrick Lamar, saying that he doesn't really see the hype in the massive West Coast movement Kendrick has been pioneering over the last 12 months, and he was here to cut that noise down and bring the focus back onto the East Coast. Rayvon was saying you're kind of flip-flopping or playing both sides when, you know, you're doing collabs with West Coast artists, with TDE members nonetheless, like Ab-Soul, who came up with Kendrick, but yet you're taking aim at the entire city. And Ab-Soul is now in a tough predicament where he might have to aim at his friend Joey. And Soul emphasizes he's riding for the West Coast.
I had to show solidarity to my syndicate. Come on, Soul.
And Joey says, come on, Soul, but Soul says,
Nah, you know anybody can get it.
and he emphasizes he still has love for Joey's collective Pro Era.
Pro era, the masses that ain't never incorrect.
However, in terms of who he remains loyal to, that's going to be none other than...
It's still TDE till 3000 and forever.
And Soul reflects on some of his fellow West Coast and TDE artists aiming at Joey.
Light was heavy and Ray definitely stepped, but this is hip hop, you know we still on that.
But again, this is all in the love of hip hop, right? All in the sport. But Soul kind of warns everybody involved that, yes, this is competition, but you're lucky one person did not step in.
Keeping it competitive, just be lucky that Soul ain't stepping in.
He also takes a little dig at Big Sean because Big Sean's baby mother, Janae Aiko, had said if she were a full-time rapper, she would be Ab-Soul, and that he's one of her favorites.
And that's Nene who her favorite rapper is. I had to do it, Fred.
And now we get into what you guys have been waiting for, Joey Badman, who, off the rip, kicks his verse off rapping, from BK to Carson, I'm bar none. Proceed with caution. I spit fire. It's arson.
They don't want war with the Martian. They sending their troops at the general.
And this is obviously a little callback to Kendrick Lamar, right? Who did not respond to Joey's track, The Ruler's Back, but instead, it was his troops who responded, right? His fellow West Coast killers, Rayvon and Daylyt. So Joey here is saying Kendrick sent the troops. He didn't want war. And he ends that off with a nice little double entendre.
But I'm the one who absolute.
You get it? The one that Ab-Soul salutes. He continues here. I believe he's taking aim at the Daylyts and the Rayvons.
Can't compete cause I'm too elite. Trying to spark a match, but they simply lacking the heat.
And then here, I think he's taking aim at Kendrick again because obviously, again, right? Kendrick did not respond to Joey, which I don't feel like he had to. at all. Maybe now he might. Let me know what you guys think after we, decode this whole verse, but I don't think the ruler's back warranted much more of a response than it got. But Joey emphasizes that he doesn't need anyone from the East Coast to jump into this forum. He's fighting this battle himself.
Blasphemy, I don't need no one to blaspheme.
And I do think it's interesting, right? Besides CJ Fly, we didn't really see anyone jump in to try to defend Joey, right? But on the West Coast, there's at least 5 different rappers who sent diss tracks at Joey, right? It shows the West might have a little more unity than the East at this point in time within hip-hop. Or maybe people felt the way about Joey calling himself the king of NY. Who knows? Then we get another nice double entendre.
This ruler's back, they've been trying to measure up.
Because obviously with a ruler, you use that to measure, right? But after Joey dropped the ruler's back, everyone was trying to measure up, get on his level, right? Respond to him and see if he'd engage in a back and forth. And even though it took, a good 6 months for Joey to respond, he emphasizes he's not taking nothing back. There's no regrets.
I ain't taking no words back, I'm with all that.
But just like what Soul said, Joey emphasizes this is just hip-hop. Nothing more, nothing less.
This ain't gotta turn to nothing else, just keep it all rap.
And Joey declares, just like Soul did, just like Daylyt did, that he has love for the opposite coast. Again, this is all in the name of hip-hop.
First off, I could never hate the West Coast, but since it's coming for Joe, then let's go.
Then I like this bar right here where Joey raps.
Must have forgot what I said on Control. Still a bunch of sensitive rappers in they pajama clothes.
I love that. I love that they're keeping it light here. No pun intended. I love that. Obviously, all these guys are really paying attention and have a pulse to what's going on, right? Not only is Joey now on a song with Big Sean, who obviously Control was Big Sean's song, and on there, Kendrick was rapping that he's trying to kill the entire industry, name dropping every major player within hip hop at that point. But again, he ends it off saying this is hip hop and those guys should know what time it is. It's all for the sake of competition to try to be the best. There's no actual hard feelings. Joey is saying the same thing. This is all for competition. And he also makes a callback to Kendrick's BET Hip Hop Awards cypher where he was responding to Drake, of all people, being very sensitive over that Control verse, and he said nothing's been the same since they dropped Control and tucked a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. Joey here is saying the same thing, right? I dropped the rulers back on the same energy Kendrick had with Control, where I was doing this for the love of hip-hop. People must have forgot about that Control verse because they're still out here acting like sensitive rappers. And Joey emphasizes once again, this is not supposed to lead to anything violent. This is not some East Coast versus West Coast war. This was just Joey all along professing his greatness.
This ain't no East versus West. I just think that I'm the best. Matter of fact, I know.
And as he brings up the East versus West, he also brings up in the next bar the 2 record labels that were notorious for fans fueling as rivals and the faces of the East versus West battle with Death Row and Bad Boy. Death Row obviously being a West Coast label, Bad Boy being on the East. And he says it's funny how both of the CEOs or the founders of those labels ended up incarcerated in 2025.
These bars could put bad boys on death row. Crazy how Shook and Puff in jail though.
And then we get by far just the most outlandish bar of this whole song. I don't even need to explain it.
I was at the party, but I never seen a freak on.
Well, I guess I will explain it if you didn't pay attention to the beginning of this video. When Daylyt responded to Joey, he was emphasizing or implying that Joey had been a good friend of Diddy's and had potentially been at one of those freak-off parties, right? We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Joey deads those rumors right here. And then Joey takes direct aim at Daylyt rapping.
Instead of battle rap on stage showing his cheeks on.
Now, this is an insane bar as well, just because, I don't know if you guys know the history, Daylyt in 2014 had defecated, had crapped, or at least attempted to on stage during a rap battle. And I'll read you guys an article from Complex about the situation, essentially. So, the MC kicked off the evening emerging from his dressing room full dressed in an all-black outfit with a cloak over his head before beginning the matchup. Fans apparently got tired of Daylight's act quick and began to boo the rapper during the early rounds while he kept his antics going, which included unveiling a fake decapitated head to go along with one of his lines. As you might imagine, this didn't help Daylyt in the crowd's eyes, and they continued to boo the MC as the battle went on, which prompted Daylyt to respond with, "If I hear 2 more boos, I'm a boo-boo on stage." The crowd, of course, continued to boo, which led Daylyt to pull down his pants and attempted to literally defecate on stage during the event. Luckily for the other MCs and the crowd, security was able to stop Daylyt and escort him out of the building before he could actually pull off the stunt. Yeah, so Joey here is saying, like, I was never at no freak-off parties with Diddy, but I do hear that when you were in my city, you were doing some pretty freaky things yourself. And Joey continues rapping, "What type of time these guys be on? Ain't no daylight saving, no sun shining, won't be long. Obviously a play on words on Daylyt Savings and of course Daylyt's name, right? Daylyt is not getting saved here. And he continues, it's a thin line between the trolls and the weirdos who clowning for attention but wear a mask like Piero. I see through your raps, it's clear, bruh. Get your butt clapped, trying to F with the PRO. I ain't worried about son, his world revolve around mine. You ain't no Copernicus guy, you move on my time. Told you I would let you shine, give you space to coexist, cause when I plan, it aligns. Now Daylyt getting eclipsed.
When I plan it aligns, now they like getting eclipsed.
And Joey emphasizes that every single time he opens his mouth, the entire conversation shifts, right? Like, these rappers are moving on his time. He's giving them the light to shine, no pun intended.
The conversation shift every time I took my.
Then we get some more play on words on Daylyt's actual name.
I'm light years ahead, they just trying to catch the drift every time I ask them.
Basically, Joey's saying he's light years ahead, he's way ahead of Daylyt. And every time Joey sparks a flame, these other rappers, again, are trying to catch up. They're trying to catch the drift. Then we get some more play on words on the light bars.
No fly zone, say, oh, is that right? I ain't gotta book no flight, I'm still gonna pack light.
And remember, on Daylyt's track, he rapped, when we're thinking fly, we're thinking spirits. Again, Spirit being a very mediocre airline or a lower class airline. Joey here is saying, alright, it's a no-fly zone now. I can't come to the West because of the bars that I rapped. Him saying, I ain't gotta book no flight. I'm still gonna pack light. He's saying, obviously, he's gonna pack out Daylyt. He's also referencing the fact that on Daylyt's tracks, he's talking about being in Joey's hometown of New York and getting more love there than Joey gets. Joey flips that to say, I don't even have to come to the West Coast, to your hometown, to pack you out. And he continues with the play on words on the whole airline theme.
I'm over heads like a carry-on, ain't been checked yet.
Here he's saying, I'm over heads like a carry-on and ain't been checked yet. He's over your head, aka he's above you, but also his bars are going over your head, and he has not been checked yet. You said it's a no-fly zone, he has not been checked by any West Coast rapper. And we get some more bars aimed at Daylyt, playing off his name.
Early on the grind, I shine through the late night. I ain't gotta lose no sleep to break daylight.
These are some ill bars, I gotta give it to Joey. This is the best I've heard him rap in this whole little back and forth so far. It's not a sweat to him, he's not losing sleep in order to break a rapper like Daylyt, and obviously it's a play on words because when you wake up from your sleep, you're breaking Daylyt. And then he emphasizes he probably shouldn't even be engaging with someone like Daylyt, which I disagree. I definitely think before you step to Kendrick, this is a much more suitable opponent, even though Daylyt will probably smack this guy in half.
Shouldn't give you time of day, fucking shine a light on him, I'm a light ray.
But then he continues because on Daylight's track, he did start off saying, Mama told me be nice to him. Joey says, okay, well, how can I put this in a nice way? I shouldn't even be responding to you, but since I am, this is my response.
How can I say this all in a nice way? If you need the attention till top, you gotta pay.
And that's basically because Daylyt is working with Punch to release his upcoming album. Joey's saying here, if you want my attention, Top Dog is gonna have to pay for it. And things get a little too intense. Absol has to come in to kind of calm Joey down a little bit.
I'm catching collaterals, hit you all at the same time.
And they have a little back and forth. Joey saying like, yo, your guys were taking shots at me. I gotta respond. Soul telling him, nah, you were the one who shot first.
Told you, bro, you gotta respect the game. You taking shots at me, but you shot first.
And Joey kind of finally admits, like, the ruler's back. This all started with him kind of just taking generic shots at anybody who wanted smoke. It wasn't at anyone in particular. This was just a declaration, again, of his greatness for the sake of competitiveness within hip-hop and the love of the sport.
I mean, I was just shooting in the air, man. Trying to get y'all attention, man. Shooters gonna shoot.
I thought this was a very dope approach to not only kind of responding to this little lyrical combat that has been going on since the start of the year that Joey started, but really just a fresh way to bring not only, you know, rap battles back, competitiveness back, but bringing ciphers back as well. When was the last time we saw some A-list rappers team up for a cipher, right? We used to see it a lot with the BET ciphers for their award show, but the last memorable one I can think of was the Kendrick one that Joey references, right, where he disses Drake saying that nothing's been the same since they dropped Control and tucked a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. We haven't really seen that since, so I love it. I hope we get a lot more of this type of energy from Joey, from Ab-Soul, from especially Big Sean, because to me his last album was very lackluster, not very memorable. I want to see him on a more aggressive energy, a more aggressive wavelength. I think he's much better on that type of timing. And as far as Joey, man, I mean, get ready for Ray Vaughn and Daylyt to come firing. You could already tell by their responses to this on Twitter. They are cooking up. I'll keep you guys updated when they respond. Let me know what you guys think of this. I love this. This is great for hip-hop. I was so happy to wake up to this. But let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you in the next one.